we're going to be making this beautiful Converse booties for babies of 3 to 6 months. And as you can see, or if you would notice, the sole is sort of bigger than the last one that I made, which was for 0 to 3 months. So because this is for a baby of 3 to 6 months, we are going to be crocheting our sole differently. So I'll be going with my white yarn. It is 3-ply. It is locally made here in Nigeria. And I'll be using a 3.5 mm hook for this tutorial. The first thing I'm going to do is to create our foundational chain. And we are going to be creating 13 chains for this. So what I'm going to do first is to start with my slip knots. So if you know how to create your slip knot, fine. I go like this, okay? And then I'll go on to chain 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So now that I have 13, I'm going to move to the third chain from my hook, and I'm going to do 3 half double crochet right there. So this is where my hook is. Here is the first chain, here is the second, and right here is the third. So for a half double crochet stitch, I yarn over. I'm going to insert my hook into the third chain from the crochet hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull through 3 loops. Okay, I'll pull through the 3 loops. Now in that same space where I just did that half double crochet, I'm going to do 2 more. So we are doing 3 half double crochet in the third chain from the hook. So right here is the second one, and right here is the third one. So now that I'm done with the 3 half double crochet in the third chain from the hook, I'm going to do single half double crochet stitches in the next 9 chains. Okay, so here's the first one. So we are doing 9. So 1, 2. So here is the 8th one, and then the 9th one. So now that I've done 9 half double crochet, I'm going to move to the last stitch, and in that last stitch I'm going to do 6 half double crochet stitches. So we're going to begin with the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is the 6th one. So now that I've completed my 6 half double crochet stitches, what we're going to do now is move over to the other side. Now, opposite where we have the single half double crochet stitches, we're going to make another single half double crochet stitches. So we have 9 on this side, we're going to do 9 on the other side. So I move to the next stitch and begin my half double crochet stitch. So here is the first one. I'm going to do 8 more to have 9 half double crochet stitches here. After completing the 9 single half double crochet stitch on the opposite end, what we are going to do is to come right back to where we started, and that is where we did the 3 half double crochet stitches in the third chain from the hook. So we're going to do another 3 more so that we have this part here and this part here looking the same. So I'm going to do the first half double crochet there, the second, and then the third. So at the end of the day, you should have a total of 30 stitches for your round 1. So what I'm going to do right now is to do a slip stitch on top of the first half double crochet stitch. Here's our completed round 1. For our round 2, what we are going to do is to begin by chaining 1. And after chaining 1, what we are going to do next is to do 2 half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So the next 4 stitches will be having 2 half double crochet stitches. So that will be a total of 8 stitches. So I'm going to start doing the 2 half double crochet stitches at the stitch very close to the chain 1. All right, so here is the first one. And then here is the second. So I'm going to do this 3 more times. So in the next 3 stitches, we're going to have 2 half double crochet in each of the stitches. So after completing this part, that's 2 half double crochet in the next 4 stitches, what we're going to do is do a single half double crochet in the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So after the 6 single half double crochet stitches, we're going to do a single double crochet stitch in the next stitch. So here is my double crochet stitch. And then what I'm going to do next is to do 2 double crochet in the next 8 stitches. So the next stitch will carry 2 double crochet stitches this time around. So here's the first one in the next stitch, and here is the second one, second double crochet in that same stitch. So I have 2 here. In the next 7 stitches, we are going to be doing 2 double crochet stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and come back and show you what we're going to do next. So after completing the 2 double crochet in 8 stitches, what I'm going to do next is to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch. So after doing the double crochet stitch, I'm going to do a half double crochet stitch in the next 6 stitches. So here is the first half double crochet stitch. I'm going to go on to do 5 more so that we can have a total of 6 half double crochet stitches. And after completing the 6 half double crochet stitches, what I'm going to do next is to do 2 half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So in this next stitch, I'm going to do 2 half double crochet. So here's the first one, and right here is the second one in that same stitch. I'm going to repeat this 3 more times so that we can have our 2 half double crochet in 4 stitches. And after completing the 2 half double crochet in the next 4 stitches, what we are going to do next is to close off our round 2 with a slip stitch just at the top of the stitch here, right after our chain 1. Okay, so you want to go ahead and close it up with a slip stitch. And right here is our completed round 2, and we should be having a total of 46 stitches for round 2. The next thing we're going to do is to move to round 3, and of course for round 3 we're going to start by chaining 1. Okay, so we're going to skip the stitch closest to the hook and this first stitch here. All right, we're going to skip this 2. I don't know if you can see. Let me show you. This is the stitch closest to the hook. We're going to skip this one. And what I'm going to do next is to do a single crochet stitch right here. Okay, so I insert my hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull through the 2 loops. In that same space, I'm going to do another single crochet stitch. I insert my hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull through the 2 loops. Now I'm going to repeat this 3 more times so that we can have 2 single crochet in 4 stitches, in the beginning 4 stitches. So I insert my hook, pull my yarn through. Here is the first single crochet. I'm going to repeat this 1 more time and do this again for the next 2 stitches. So after completing my 2 single crochet in these 4 stitches, what I'm going to do next is to do half double crochet, single half double crochet in the next 16 stitches. So I yarn over, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull through these 3 loops, I'm going to repeat this 15 more times in order for us to have 16 half double crochet stitches. So after the 16th stitch, what we are going to do next is to do 2 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So here's the first stitch after the 16th one. So I'm going to do the first half double crochet, and in that same space I'll do another half double crochet. I move to the second stitch, do the first half double crochet. In that same space I do the second half double crochet, move to the third, do the first half double crochet, and in that same space I do the second. Okay, so now that I've completed these 3, what I'm going to do next is to do single half double crochet in the next 16 stitches, just like we did here. So here's the first one. I'm going to go ahead and do this 15 more times in order for us to have our 16 half double crochet stitches on this side. Now that I've completed the 16th half double crochet stitch, what I'm going to do next is to do 2 single crochet stitches in the next 4 stitches. So I move to the next stitch. Here is my first single crochet stitch. In that same space I do another single crochet stitch, and I'm going to go on to repeat this 3 more times so we can have our 2 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So, all right, now that we have completed this, okay, we have done the 4 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. What we want to do is close our round 3 up. Now do not mind the gap that we have here. What you are going to do is to go ahead and do your slip stitch right at the top of the single crochet stitch in the beginning of round 3. So as you can see, mine is right here. Okay, so that is where I am going to jump over to. We want this as equal as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I move right here, and that is right after I chain 1. I move here, pull my yarn through and pull it through this loop for our slip stitch. So at the end of round 3 you should end up with 54 stitches. Okay, so this is what it is going to look like when you are done stitching, and we are going to begin our round 4 with a chain 1. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and chain 1. I'm going to skip the stitch right after the chain 1. Okay, I'll skip the stitch right here. I move to the next stitch, insert my hook. Now we are going to be doing these stitches in the back loop only, okay, because we are done with the bottom of the sole. We want to do like the sole extension to the side. So what I'm going to do next is to insert my hook into the back loop. Your stitch has 2 loops. The one, you know, sort of like closest to you or sort of facing you is the front loop. The one behind is the back loop. So I'm going to insert my hook into the back loop, and we're going to be doing half double crochet stitches for round 4. So I insert my hook into the back loop. First of all, I yarn over, insert my hook into the back loop, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull through these 3 loops. So we're going to be doing this half double crochet stitches for the next 51 stitches, okay, because I've done the first one. So I'll do an additional 51 half double crochet stitch to make a total of 52. So after doing the 52 half double crochet stitches in the back loop only, this is what we have, and we want to close off round 4. So I'm going to insert my hook right at the top of the stitch after the chain 1 here. So just right here, I insert my hook, pull my yarn through and pull it through this loop to do my slip stitch. So we have completed round 4 with a total of 52 stitches. Now what we are going to do next is to do round 5, and I'm going to chain 1, skip the stitch right after the chain 1, and I'm going to be doing single crochet stitches, not in the back loop only this time around, but across both front and back loop. So single crochet stitches all around for a total of 52 single crochet stitches. Okay, so here is the first single crochet stitch, and here is the second single crochet stitch. So I'm going to do this 50 more times to get a total of 52 single crochet stitches for round 5. Now round 5 and round 6 are basically the same thing. So when I'm done with round 5, the total of 52 stitches, I'm going to do my slip stitch right after the chain 1 that we have here at the beginning of round 5. Do that slip stitch, chain 1, and then do another 52 single crochet stitch for round 6. So round 5 and round 6 are the same thing. They are going to have a total number of 52 single crochet stitches. So after finishing round 5 and 6, I'm going to close off round 6 now. I've done 52 single crochet. I'm going to close it off at the top of the first single crochet, okay? So I'll close it right at the top with a slip stitch. And this slip stitch that I have here is sort of going to make it look like I have 53 stitches in total. Okay, so after doing my slip stitch, I'll go ahead and cut my yarn and then pull my yarn through. So this is what we have for the sole and the sole extension for our shoe. The next thing that we are going to do is to do the slip stitch around the top of the sole extension, but it's going to be like at the side. So we are going to be slip stitching all around with a black yarn to give this converse effect, if you get what I mean. What we are going to do right now is to use this black yarn to do the slip stitch under round 6, and I'm going to be hiding this yarn as I go along. So I'm going to start from under the slip stitch right here. I'm going to pull my yarn through. I'm using double of this thin yarn, so I'll pull it through like so. And after pulling it through, what I'm going to do is insert my hook under the next stitch, and then I'm going to pull my yarn through under that stitch and then pull it through this loop. So I'm going to repeat this one more time. Insert my hook into the next stitch or under the next stitch, pull my yarn through, and then pull it through this loop. Okay, so can you see what I'm doing? So let me just go over it one more time. Insert my hook under the next stitch, pull my yarn through. Okay, I'm going to pull my yarn through and pull it through this loop. So I'm just going to continue to do this all around till I get right back to where I started. Because I don't want to sort of like have a gap here, I'm going to move to the next stitch and do another slip stitch, even though I've done a slip stitch previously. And then I cut my yarn, pull my yarn through. So I'm going to hide this around where I have the black yarn with my yarn needle, as well as cut this one because I've hidden enough of it. So now that I'm done with this slip stitch, what we're going to do next is to move to the toe top of this Converse shoes that we are making. And right here where I stopped is the back, and here is the front. So we are doing the toe top at the front. I remember for round 6, this white yarn here, we ended up with 53 stitches because of the slip stitch that we did in the end. Okay, so we need to take that into account. Now the slip stitch is right at the center back of the shoe. So what I'm going to do is to get a couple of stitch markers. Now I'm going to place one stitch marker right where I have the slip stitch. Okay, so you need to make sure you place that correctly. So in order for us to begin our toe top, we're going to count from this stitch marker, and I'm going to be counting about 18 from this stitch marker. Okay, so I'll be starting from here now. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18. Okay, so here is the 18th one. I'm going to place this right there. Okay, so I place it right here. I'll count 18 as well from the same stitch marker. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18. so I place it right here as well. So you need to make sure that wherever you place your stitch markers, they are sort of like opposite each other, okay? And we counted 18 here starting from the stitch marker, and 18 here starting from the stitch marker. If we count the total number of stitches here, we are going to have 35. I'm going to count what we have left. So starting from the stitch after the stitch marker, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I stopped right at the stitch before this stitch marker, and we have 18. So if we add 18 to 35, we're going to end up with 53 stitches. So this means we are right on track to begin our toe top. So what I'm going to do is to get my white yarn, and I'm going to remove the first stitch marker. And what we're going to do next is to insert our hook right under the stitch for round 6, okay? So I'm going to insert my hook right under where I just removed the stitch marker. And what I'm going to do next is to pull this yarn through it, and then I'm going to chain 1. So what I'm going to do next is to do 9 double crochet decrease. So in order for us to do a double crochet decrease, I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the next stitch, I pull my yarn through, I yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull my yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through these 3 loops. So this is my first double crochet decrease. I'm going to repeat this one more time for you to see. So I yarn over, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull my yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull my yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again and pull through these 3 loops. So I'm going to repeat this 7 more times to have a 9 double crochet decrease for the first row of the toe top. A double crochet decrease simply means you are doing 2 double crochet stitches together. So you are combining 2 double crochet stitches into one. So I'll go ahead and finish the first row of our toe top with the remaining 7 double crochet decrease. So after doing the 9 double crochet decrease, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the 9th one right here. Where we have the last stitch marker, I'm going to do a single crochet stitch to end round 1. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull through these 2 loops. So now we are done with round 1 for the toe top. For round 2, I'm going to chain 1, okay, and then I turn my work, and we're going to do 4 single crochet decrease. So I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch, which is right here. I insert my hook, pull my yarn through, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull my yarn through. I have 3 loops on my crochet hook. I yarn over and pull through the 3 loops. So that is how to do a single crochet decrease. I'm going to repeat this one more time. Insert my hook, pull my yarn through, move to the next stitch, insert my hook, pull my yarn through again. I have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through the 3 loops. So that is my second single crochet decrease. I'm going to do this 2 more times across 4 stitches to have completed our 4 single crochet decrease. So now that I've completed my 4 single crochet decrease, what I'm going to do in the last stitch, which is right here, okay, so find that last stitch, okay, so in that last stitch I'm going to do a single crochet to finish off round 2 for our toe top. So I insert my hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops. So that is it for our round 2 for the toe top. The next thing we are going to do is to chain 1 for round 3 now. I'm going to turn my work, And what I'm going to do is to do 3 single crochet stitches. So I insert my hook into the next stitch, pull my yarn through. So here is my first single crochet stitch, right here is my second single crochet stitch, and right here is my third single crochet stitch. And now that I'm done with this, I'm going to move to the next stitch, insert my hook. We are going to be doing a slip stitch to close off round 3. So this is my slip stitch. I cut my yarn, pull my yarn through, and we have basically finished the foundation for the toe top. Now what I'm going to do next is to neatly finish off the edge of the toe top. So where the stitch for the toe top begins, which is right here, I'm going to insert my hook, and then I'll pull my yarn through like so, and we are going to chain 1. Then what we are going to do is to do single crochet stitches right across the edge of the toe top. Okay, so I just insert my hook into the next stitch, pull my yarn through, single crochet stitch, move to the next stitch, pull my yarn through, single crochet stitch. So I'm just going to continue like that while hiding my yarn till I get to the end. So I did a total of 10 single crochet stitches at the edge of the toe top, and in order to close off this row, what we are going to do is come right back to where this stitch is. I'm going to insert my hook in there and do a slip stitch to finish off the edge. So here is my slip stitch, and I'm going to cut my yarn and then pull my yarn through. So this is it for the toe top of the shoe. So this is how neat it looks. What we are going to do next is to move to the side and back extension, which is this part right here. Okay, this is the side and back extension, and I'm going to need my army colored yarn. To making the side and back extension, I'm just going to stop right where I have the edge of the toe top. So I insert my hook in there, then I'm going to pull this yarn through it. The next thing I'm going to do is to chain 2. So here's my first chain, and then right here is my second chain. What I'm going to do next is to move to the next stitch and do a single crochet stitch. So here is the first single crochet stitch right after the chain 2. I'm going to repeat this one more time. Insert my hook under the stitch for a single crochet stitch, pull my yarn through, I yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So I've done 2 stitches now. What I'm going to do next is to do 31 more stitches to make a total of 33 single crochet stitches for the round 1 of our side and back extension. So I've completed the 33 single crochet stitches right after the chain 2 that we did at the beginning here. So what I'm going to do next to finish off round 1 is to do a single crochet stitch. So I'm going to do another single crochet stitch right where we have the edge of the toe top, right at that stitch at the bottom here. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook into that place, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull through these 2 loops. So at the end of the day, we have a total of 34 single crochet stitches and a chain 2 for our round 1. So for round 2, I'm going to chain 1, turn my work. Okay, we're going to skip the stitch right after the chain 1 and do 34 single crochet stitches for round 2. So I'm going to start. So here's the stitch that I'm skipping. Move to this stitch and begin my single crochet stitch. I'll just go ahead and continue to do this for my round 2. So to close off our round 2, what I'm going to do next is to move to the last stitch and do a single crochet stitch. So at the end of the day, what we have for round 2 is a chain 1 and a total of 34 single crochet stitches. Alright, so we have a chain 1 and 34 single crochet stitches. So the next thing we're going to do is to move to round 3, and for that I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, skip the stitch right after the chain 1, which is right here. Okay, it is right here. I'm going to skip that stitch. I'm going to skip another stitch again. Okay, so we're skipping 2 stitches for this round 3. So I'm skipping 1 and 2, and then I'll move to the 3rd stitch from the hook, and I'm going to be making 30 single crochet stitches. So here's my first stitch, and right here is my 2nd stitch. So in addition to that 30 single crochet stitches for round 3, I'm going to do another one right next to it. So that will make it a total of 31 single crochet stitches. Then I'm going to skip 1 stitch, come right at the edge, and do a single crochet stitch to close off round 3. So what we're going to do next is move to round 4, and for round 4 I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, skip 2 stitches from the crochet hook, so the one right next to the chain 1, and I'm going to skip another stitch, move over here, and start doing single crochet stitches all around. So I'm going to be doing 29 single crochet stitches for round 4, and after I'm done with that, I'm going to show you how we're going to close off round 4. After I'm done with the 29 single crochet stitches for round 4, I'm going to skip 1 stitch, then I move to the last stitch and do a single crochet. Then we are going to chain 1 for round 5, turn our work. I'm going to skip 2 stitches, okay, the first stitch right after the chain 1 and this stitch, move over to the 3rd stitch from the hook, and I'm going to begin doing single crochet stitches, and I'll be doing a total of 27 single crochet stitches. Once I'm done with this 27 single crochet stitches, I'm going to show you what we're going to do next to finish off round 5. So after doing the 27 single crochet stitch, what I'm going to do is to skip 1 stitch, which is right here. So I'm going to skip that 1 stitch and then move to the edge and do a single crochet stitch. So now that I've done that single crochet stitch, we've closed off round 5, and we're going to move to round 6. So I'm going to chain 1 to begin my round 6, turn my work, skip the stitch right after the chain 1 and this stitch right here. Okay, I'm going to skip the 2nd stitch and move to the 3rd stitch to begin a single crochet for round 6. And once I'm done with that 25 single crochet stitches, I'm going to show you what we're going to do to close off our round 6. So once I'm done with the 25th single crochet stitch, I'm going to skip 1 stitch, then come to the edge here and do a single crochet stitch to finish off our round 6. So I insert my hook, pull my yarn through, yarn over, and pull through these 2 loops. So we are done with our round 6, and we're going to move to round 7. And for round 7, I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, skip the stitch right after the chain 1. For this round 7, we're not going to be skipping another stitch, just 1 stitch, and that is the stitch right after the chain 1. So I'm going to insert my hook in there and begin to do single crochet stitches. So I did a total of 25 single crochet stitches, and to close off round 7, what I'm going to do next is to do a slip stitch. So I insert my hook into this last stitch. It's pretty tight in there, so I'm just going to carefully insert my hook, pull my yarn through, and then pull through this loop to do my slip stitch. Cut my yarn and then pull my yarn through like so. And we are almost done with our side and back extension for this shoe that we are making. So what we want to do next is to smoothen the edge. So I'm going to be doing single crochet stitches for that. I will start from here, just above the first row or at the top of the first row. I'll pull my yarn through, and then I'm going to chain one. I move to the next stitch. I'll be doing single crochet stitches across. Alright, so I'm move to the next stitch and do a single crochet stitch. So this is my first single crochet stitch. I move to the next one, do another single crochet stitch. So this is the second one. I do a third. So I'll be making a total of 4 single crochet stitches. So this is the third one. Then I move to the next stitch and do a 4th single crochet stitch. So in the 5th stitch, what we're going to do next is to do 3 single crochet stitches, because we want to cross over and move to the top. So 1, 2, and 3. So once I do that 3, I'm going to move to this next stitch at the top and do 1 single crochet stitch, and then I'll be doing 24 more single crochet stitches at the top right here. So I'm just going to continue to do the single crochet stitch right at the top. So I call this round for the side and back extension my round 8 or my row 8. So after doing the 25th single crochet stitch, where we have the slip stitch at this end, what I'm going to do is to do 3 single crochet stitches at that corner so we can smoothly transition to the side. So I'm going to do the first single crochet stitch. In that same space, I'm going to do the second, and in that same space, I'm going to do the third. And then I will do 5 single crochet stitches across, and we're going to slip stitch at the last stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is the 5th stitch, and we're going to move to the last stitch now. So I move to this last stitch and I'm going to do my slip stitch. So I pull my yarn through and then I pull through this loop, cut my yarn, pull the yarn through, okay, and then I'm going to hide this yarn. And that is it for our side and back extension. So before working on our shoe flap, what we are going to do next is to do this slip stitch here at the top of the half double crochet stitch that we have here, okay? And we will be using the side and back extension, which is this part here. We'll be using it as a guide for where to start and where to end. So I'm going to get my crochet needle, my crochet hook, and what I'm going to do is to insert my hook right at the top of the half double crochet stitch, and then I grab my black yarn and I'm going to pull my yarn through. And the next thing I'm going to do is to move to the next stitch, insert my hook, and then I'm going to pull this black yarn through it. Okay, let me get these ones out of the way. All right, so I'm going to pull my black yarn through it like so, and then I'll pull it through the loop on my crochet hook. So I'll insert my hook into the next stitch, pull my yarn through, and pull it through this loop on my crochet hook. So what we are doing is basically what we did for this part, but we're just repeating it in another place. So I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch, pull my yarn through, and pull through this loop. So I'm going to continue to do this till I get to this other end. Okay, making sure that it aligns with my side and back extension right here. So once I get to the part that aligns with the side and back extension, I'm going to go on to cut my yarn, pull my yarn through, and of course I'm going to hide the yarn around the black stitch. So now that we are done with this, we are going to move to our shoe flap, and we're basically going to be doing single crochet stitches for this shoe flap using this yarn. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is to come to the edge of the toe top right here. So I'll pull my yarn through like so, and then I'm going to do a chain one. Then I'll move to the next stitch, and we're going to be doing a single crochet. So this is the first single crochet that I'm doing. I'm going to do 11 more single crochet, which will take me right to the end of this toe top. So I've completed the first row now. The next thing I'm going to do for the second row is to chain one, and then I'm going to do 11 single crochet stitches. So I'll be doing this for 10 rows. So at the end of the day, our shoe flap is going to have 10 rows of a chain one and 11 single crochet. All right, so by the time I get to the end here, I chain one, turn my work, do 11 single crochet stitches. So after doing the 11 single crochet stitches, I'll begin row 3 by chaining one and doing another 11 single crochet stitches until I get to row 10. So at the end of the 10th row, instead of doing the 11th single crochet stitch, what we are going to do here is to do a slip stitch, okay, and then I'm going to go on to cut my yarn. Now that we have done this, we have almost finished with the toe top. We want to neatly work on the edges just like we did for the side and back extension. So to finish off the edge of this shoe flap, I'm going to insert my hook right here. So not where we started the shoe flap, okay, just right above it. I insert my hook right there. I pull my yarn through, and I'm going to chain one. Then I'm going to do 8 single crochet stitches upwards. So here is my first single crochet stitch. I move to the next stitch. Here is the second one, the third, 7th, and then the 8th single crochet stitch. So right at this edge, which is where I have my slip stitch, okay, I'm going to insert my hook into that slip stitch, and we're going to be doing 3 single crochet stitches there so that we can corner onto the top. So here is my first single crochet stitch. Here is the second. Don't worry, I'm going to pull this yarn through. And then right here is the third. So now that I've done the 3 single crochet stitches at the slip stitch, I'm going to go ahead and do 9 single crochet stitches at the top here. So here's the first one. 1, 2, 3. After completing the 9 single crochet stitches at the top here, in the last stitch here, I'm going to do 3 single crochet stitches so that we can move from the top onto that corner there, nice and neat. So here's the second single crochet stitch, and right here is the third single crochet stitch. Then I'll move to the next stitch and I'll begin to do single crochet stitches. So 1, 2, 7, 8. So I've done 8 single crochet stitches here. In this 9th one, I'm going to do a slip stitch. Okay, so I insert my hook, pull my yarn through, and then I'm going to pull through this loop, go on to cut my yarn, pull my yarn through like so, and of course I will go ahead and hide the rest of this yarn. So for your shoelace, you can go on to chain 120 to 150. That would definitely be enough for your shoelace for you to tie around the shoe, and then of course have enough to tie at the end of the shoe around this part here. So I'll go on to chain 150 or 120. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 till I get to 120. After I finished with the shoelace, I went ahead to lace up the shoe, and this is what it looks like. Our Converse shoe is done and finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, kindly give us a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more videos, turn on the bell so you get updates when I post new videos, and I'll be seeing you in my next tutorial. Bye!